guys, gals, and non-binary pals. You've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail, so I'm sure there's no need for me to announce what I'm going to be talking about today. However, I do need to do a little disclaimer before I start. For one, I'm not going to disclose what university I went to, as I do not want to be sued for defamation. And for two, everything in this video is my own personal experience and opinions. If you've had a different experience with your animation school, then that's awesome. Now without further ado, let's get into the video. I get sick. Like, a lot. In fact, just as I was writing this script, I was still at the tail end of getting over some kind of virus that begins with an A. I was sick for about 3 to 4 weeks with this. Because I get sick so often, I find myself not being able to physically attend university. And as for the rare times that I am able to attend, another couple of problems arise. And that's where we get into financial stress. I live in a family that doesn't make a lot of money. We have just enough to survive but not thrive. Because of this, a little while back now, we had to move from where we previously lived to out here in a more rural area. We also only have the one car, and typically my dad needs it for getting to work. Due to this, I need to catch the train. At the end of the day, when I've travelled to and from my uni, it ends up costing roughly $20. Although there is currently a 50-cent flat rate for all public transportation in Queensland for 6 months. The $20 may not sound like much, but to me and my family, it's quite a strong price. And I can't get a job to help out for the same reasons I can't attend university. I'm too sick and have no way of travel. I'm also struggling to find jobs in illustration remotely, as everyone is getting job layoffs in the art and animation industry, as well as AI replacing people's hard work. A constant reminder that corporations don't care about their employees. This one is probably a bold and controversial statement, but the education provided at the university that I went to is just not worth it. At least for me. I've learnt a lot over the years by doing things myself. I've learnt the basics of anatomy. I know how to use art and animation programs. I know the basics of character design. I know how to write a script. I know the basics of animation. And I know all of this because of YouTube. YouTube has so much free education. Hell, I have playlists dedicated to showing off some of the tips and tutorials that have helped me with all this. Not to mention, whilst I haven't tried these courses out yet, there are much cheaper courses by people who are in the industry that can teach you specifics you may not know and may need. My university would have costed me $33,000 in total if I had completed it, whilst these courses online may only cost $300. That's a really big difference. From my experience, animation school doesn't really offer that much value aside from the discounts on software and events that you can attend. The education itself, what you're supposed to get most value from, is not very valuable. And speaking of things that aren't very valuable, let's talk about AI art. So, you know how school is meant to teach you the necessary skills for your future job? Well, apparently someone who oversees the university that I went to thought it was a smart idea to teach students how to be essentially replaced. In case you don't know what AI art is, or AI image generation, it's when a program like Midjourney quote-unquote scrapes, also known as steals, artists' hard work without their consent, in order to generate an image with the user's prompt. It doesn't just scrape artists' hard work, mind you. It also will just straight up take people's faces. That's why you might be seeing deepfakes getting unnervingly better as of late. AI programs don't just take imagery though, they also take voices and writing. Basically, anything creative can now be replaced with a robot. My university decided that introducing Adobe Firefly AI would be a good skill set to have. If you can even call typing basic prompts like river into a machine a skill. I really think it shows just how much real human artists, animators, and creatives are not valued by introducing something so soulless and unethical. This brings me to why I left Adobe as a whole. Adobe likes to try and sell their AI Firefly model as a more ethical model than others out there, because they only use their users' imagery if they opt into being trained. The only issue there is that it's not an opt-in system, but an opt out system. A lot of artists and photographers may still unknowingly be in this AI training system, meaning that a lot of users don't have informed consent. Adobe is no stranger to completely disregarding people's consent though, as they recently had a scandal where they said they were using images in the Adobe Cloud to train their AI model. They tried to backtrack this with a clarification post saying they're only training from the Adobe stock images, but used very sussy language like "we will not train" instead of "we have not trained," giving them some legal wriggle room in case they have trained on your work up until this point. This leads me to my next reason for leaving Adobe. I just can't trust them. They feel scummy and unsafe as a company. For example of one of their less favourable behaviours, there have been reports of Adobe charging people a cancellation fee for their service. Because of this, Adobe is currently dealing with a lawsuit in the USA. I think even if Adobe attempted to iron out their many problems, I personally don't think I'd ever be able to trust them again. Also, their prices are way too high, particularly when there are plenty of free or one-time cost alternatives out there. Some of these programs I'd even argue are better than Adobe's stuff. For instance, I've been using Krita for a long time now instead of Photoshop for drawing. The pen pressure sensitivity and brush options makes it feel like it's built for artists. I'm going to be making a video of what I use as alternatives to Adobe, so consider keeping an eye out on my channel for that. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. If you found it enjoyable, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. I typically make speed paints and art-related commentary videos. Also, if you like my artwork and want to buy a pin or a print, or just support me, I have an Etsy, imprint, Patreon, and Artistry. With that all said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.